Somewhere in space, this may all be happening right now.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Canon Fodder, the Star Wars podcast about all things non-canonical, like books, toys, games, and other legends of the Star Wars universe. I am your host, Brian West. With me is Aaron Sachs.
Hi-ho.
Miguel Silva.
Hi.
And special sometimes guest host, Pedro Silva.
Hey, what is up?
Hey, so I was just thinking, I don't want to ambush you, PD, but just for a little intro, let's say rank the Star Wars movies from first to worst.
Like all seven of them?
All seven of them.
All seven of them. From first to worst. I'm going to say Empire.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
I'm going to say Empire, Force Awakens, Jedi, New Hope. 3, 1, 2.
Oh, wow.
I can't handle your list, PD.
Why not?
You did at least follow Brian's framework of naming the movies, because last time he got mad at me that I used numbers.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for that.
Actually, you used both.
Shit gets messy, you know?
Well,
It's not that.
I'm pretty sure everyone that this podcast applies to didn't have any confusion with what I just said.
Well, it was just that Meg at the time was framing it like, well...
Wait, the first one's the fourth one?
No. It was more like because he was using number places to describe it. So he's like, 1 is probably 5, and 2 is probably 6. And then all of a sudden it was like a math word problem. But anyway, that was a terrible ranking, Petey. Let's get into the spoiler disclaimer.
I thought it was reasonably.
Yeah.
It was feasible.
It works. It works fine for me. I just want to know the last time you watched Jedi.
Like probably a couple weeks before Force Awakens came out.
Okay. That's not what this show's about, guys.
Guys.
You can learn about PD another day.
Isn't it though? Isn't it though?
Sorry, the correct answer to my question actually is Caravan of Courage, then Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Then
bringing it back.
Then Battle for Endor.
Yeah.
Then the Clone Wars animated movie.
Yeah. I actually have not seen Battle for Endor.
Oh god, that thing is pretty bad.
Sky Guy. Okay, spoiler disclaimer. There's going to be spoilers for all this crazy crap that we're talking about. So if you care about spoilers for things that don't count and are ridiculous, then you've been warned. Yeah, I don't know where else to go with that. Today we are talking about the infamous 1984 TV movie, The Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure. I wanted to start by asking you, let's start with you, Mig.
Yeah.
When were you aware of this film's existence, and when did you see it?
So I probably saw it. I want to say I saw it maybe even. I'm pretty sure I saw Star Wars movies out of order. I'm pretty sure I saw it 4, 6, 5 when I was really little, like 5 years old. And I want to say I might have seen this before Empire.
Interesting.
So I was probably like 5 or 6. But I was aware that Ewoks existed.
Okay.
In the Star Wars universe, I should say, before I saw this movie, for sure.
I had to have seen this movie before my parents got divorced, so that would have been in '89.
Shit got dark.
Jeez,
real
I know
fast.
you took a dark turn on this, Aaron.
Sometime in the '80s.
Okay.
Between like my earliest Star Wars memories are unfortunately this and the lightsaber duel in Empire.
Okay.
So like the absolute peak of Star Wars.
Yes, and it's absolute low.
Yeah, that stupid between the lightsaber duel and that stupid dreidel that Logray spins. That's it. Yeah.
It's a space dreidel. Petey, you just saw this movie today, right?
No, I'd seen it before though. I definitely Definitely saw it after the original trilogy, though. Like, when I was growing up. I can't pinpoint when.
Yeah, for me, this movie has almost always been, because I was born in 85 and didn't see Star Wars until 92. And I'm pretty sure I saw this and recorded it off TV when it was playing in syndication on the Disney Channel. So I saw this before I knew that it was related to Star Wars. It was just like a crazy adventure movie with like teddy bears, and I loved it. It's hard to even imagine. Like, I watch it now and it's so low quality and it's so not entertaining. There's like a lot of sleeping in this movie. It's not it's not very exciting.
It was so hard to watch when I first started, because it's got that same kind of thing that the early episodes of Evangelion have, where it's the screen is shaky, and it's like hard to focus on everything.
Should we just jump right into it? It starts with Burl Ives like narrating.
Yeah, good get.
Yeah, the whole time I was like, this sounds like that Rudolph the Reindeer like claymation movie, and I don't remember this. And then at the end, it's like, oh well, it's the same guy.
I mean, if you think about like the world of narrators, he's got to be top 5. Like him, Morgan Freeman, Sigourney Weaver.
Well, now, yeah.
And Boris Karloff.
Oprah.
But yeah, it certainly does. And he does like almost a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Doesn't he say just something like a long time ago on some planet or something?
In a magical forest on the forest moon of Endor.
Does he say forest moon event? Like,
yeah, he does. Yeah, he says
they refer to it as Endor as opposed to, well, like they refer to the forest moon and Endor is the same thing.
So what he says is, I just watched this today. What he says is a long time ago in an enchanted forest on the moon of Endor.
What he meant was in California somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
A long time ago in Marin County. Which I did look it up, and
to be fair, that goes for most of the Star Wars footage.
But this is more
most of it's in the Redwoods. This is really like in George Lucas's backyard, like in Marin County, right there. I mean, it says they shot a little bit in the Redwoods, but for the most part, all the rest of it was Marin County.
Yeah, that was confusing as a Star Wars fan, the geography of this place. Because it starts off, at least...
It didn't match up with your vision.
Well, it came out...
The forest
it came out after Jedi, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it starts in like at a lake, like a lakeside cabin. It's it does, and they so it was already very confusing.
Okay, well, let's get into this thing chronologically. So the film opens basically with the Tawani and their family cruiser crashing on the forest moon of Endor. And apparently the children are missing because there's just 2 parents with flashlights screaming, Sindel, Mace, over and over again. I don't know where they would have gone. That's never really explained. And then...
it's a cold open, too. It's cool. It's like a Bond, like a James Bond cold open.
It's exactly like
exactly
a
like
James Bond
that
movie. The parents' names are Jermit and Katarine.
Mm-hmm.
So Jermit and Katarine,
classic Star Wars names.
They're searching for their kids, and a big fucking giant shows up with like a Fu Manchu and
right off the bat
abducts them.
Yeah. And in my notes I wrote still terrifying.
Yeah.
The Gorax.
He is sexy and luxuriously maned, but he is still terrifying.
Yeah, we watched this at the time with my girlfriend, and she was like, he has really nice hair.
He does. He really does.
I think it's pretty obvious he's the inspiration for Danon.
For who?
See, I thought he was the inspiration for, is it Mordak? Is that the villain from She-Ra? From King's Quest 5.
Well,
I likened him to the Mandarin from Iron Man.
Yeah. So
all right, so we got Ganon, the Mandarin, and whoever you were thinking of from something.
Can we throw a little bit of Worf from Star Trek? Just in the mix there.
Yeah.
I actually had a question. When did this movie come out? What year?
It came out in 1984. It was also shot in 1984.
Is that before? Is it before or after Neverending Story?
Oh boy.
After, I think. Neverending Story 81 or 82, maybe?
Because there's some clear, like, rip-off scenes.
It's definitely in that vein. It's definitely an 80s fantasy movie more than it is a Star Wars movie.
There's some, like, direct shots that are, like, might as well be taken from that.
Oh, shit. Neverending Story, 1984.
Yeah, same year.
Wild.
So these things were just in the collective consciousness.
I guess so. There's like the shots of when they're jumping ahead a little bit. There's the shots of like the super terrifying wolf monster in this movie that are like shot exactly the same as the wolves in Neverending Story.
Yeah,
really
I thought
weird.
the same thing.
Oh yeah, it is kind of similar.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get there.
So,
guys.
Yeah, we'll get there.
This movie's supposed to be rated G. That thing scared the shit
Yeah, that thing's
out of my
terrifying.
son.
It's very terrifying.
Oh my god.
And they kill it.
They definitely
they
kill
put it to sleep.
No, he's
Guys,
dead.
we'll get there.
No. He's dead.
He's dead.
His mouth is smoking. That thing is dead.
Yeah, he is dead.
So after we get our little title shot, after our beautiful cold opening where the giant shows up like a minute into the film,
Yep.
then we go to a scene where there's really just a lot of Ewoks speaking gibberish to each other, but
Yeah.
the Deej Warwick, who is Wicket's father, realizes that two of his children, Weechi and Whittle, have gone missing.
Fucking yuck.
And he busts out his skin glider to search for them.
I have a question. Does he ever find his children?
Yeah, they're on the side of the hill, and he throws them a rope.
Okay.
A very old and dusty.
He doesn't just throw. Yeah, he throws them a really shitty rope. He doesn't just throw it at them though. He navigates the shit out of that glider. Like
his skin glider.
He's a damn pro, dude. The skin glider.
It's a skin glider.
He's
like, really good at working his skin glider.
Yeah.
He makes like a 34-degree turn towards a cliff face. And then like hands them the rope and then gets away.
Well, I have a fucking amazing...
Say 34-degree turn.
I have a fucking amazing tidbit about the skin glider, which is that that is real. That is a real glider and a real stuntman in an Ewok costume piloting that thing.
Holy shit.
It's like the only thing that they didn't do like a visual effect. That's 100% practical because George Lucas was like, oh, why don't we have a real hang glider?
Oh, George?
Like,
George?
Yeah.
Is that you?
That was fantastic. My God.
Oh, well, the power of myth.
That's
that's
pretty incredible.
That is real. Pretty good effect. I'm just saying it looks good. As we were saying, he does locate the children, and then on the way back, he sees the Star Cruiser, which has crashed, and that's where we meet Sindel.
Okay, hold on real quick. You watched it today, right, Petey?
Mm-hmm.
Was it just me, or did the Ewok guy look like really aroused when he walks into that spaceship? Did anyone else write that in their notes?
Good God, no.
It's hard to tell. I mean, they're so like emotionless because they didn't give him fucking moving mouths.
Tongues.
Their mouths can kind of wiggle, but they're not
just
great.
Like Wicket's got some movement in the mouth, but the other ones are just like a mask.
Yeah, he's just very excited. He like walks into the spaceship quite pleased.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know, there's a lot of like weird noises. The Ewok sound effects are definitely not up to par with how they were in Jedi, where there's a lot of like like weird just groaning and moaning going on.
It's really strange. I'd say the first 15 minutes of the movie are just weird grunts like that, right? Beyond the parents talking.
Yeah. That's actually like
it's grunting, grunting and burl eyes.
That's actually like my biggest complaint with this movie, like on an actual like critical level, is like you look at a movie like WALL-E, where it's like, okay, you don't need any dialogue, everything's really expressive, and you know exactly what's going on through these characters' heads. This movie is the exact opposite. The opposite of that. I don't know.
There's actually stuff happening in WALL-E. Nothing happens in this.
Plenty happens.
They could have condensed the entire thing down into like less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we meet Sindel and we'll meet Sindel and Mace in this scene, and this is sort of the first thing where you get. I mean, you pointed out the bad Ewok costumes, which are definitely like they just had Ewok costumes left over and they just reused them. You know, they didn't do anything. They didn't touch up the masks, even though, you know, in Return of the Jedi, the Ewoks just had to be like teddy bears and run around. But in this, they actually have to carry a movie, but they didn't change the costumes at all. So it's just like leftovers. And even like Mace's costume is just like, oh, well, it's a X-Wing pilot uniform. We'll just hem it at the legs to make it his uniform.
Sindel's basically Leia's
she's wearing like Leia's, I call that Leia's diaper suit.
Goodness.
Uh-huh.
And
go on.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of everything in this movie is just like repurposed props and crap left over from other Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Which does give it kind of like a neat sort of like backyard film feel. Like it almost feels like a movie made by kids, but in the best and worst ways.
Mostly the worst.
Yeah, so get back to Mace. Also, he's a freaking psycho, like out the gate.
First off, I didn't think that there was a worse actor in the Star Wars universe than Jake Lloyd, but it turns out there is.
Dude, yeah, Mace is pretty good.
You guys, we'll get into. So Mace is the actor that played Mace. Him and Warwick Davis were given cameras by George Lucas just to like introduce them to like the film biz. And George Lucas just like, oh, here's some cameras. Make your own movie about the movie. And so they shot their own like documentary.
What? Oh, wow.
And it's on YouTube.
I can't wait for that.
They talk about how terrible the fucking
no, they are having the time of their lives. And you talk to everybody there and they think they're making like just the greatest. It's the new Star Wars movie, and it's just heaven. And that actor has gone on to write a book about making the Ewok movie called like Growing Up on Skywalker Ranch or something like that.
That sounds like a fuking lawsuit.
Well, he kickstarted it and it was an overwhelming success.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have known, I'd have backed it.
And to add to this insanity, what he does now for a living is he makes like ambient electronic music.
Hell yeah.
Excellent.
Wait, I want to hear that.
Nice.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I'm totally all
yeah, his name is Eric Walker, I believe. So look that up and you can find just a wealth of gold.
Excellent.
But in his in the little
or copper, whichever.
In the documentary that he made, his like audition tape for the movie is in there. And he's doing like this monologue about like, it sounds like his mother is like locking herself in the bathroom because she has an abusive husband.
What?
It's like this really serious thing, and he starts crying all crazy, and it's like, why was this necessary?
I don't know, but he has a pretty good monologue in the movie we'll get to later.
I mean, every human character basically has a monologue.
What was Wicked's monologue?
He's not a human.
He's not human.
Gunda.
They're animals, Brian.
Yeah. Actually, well, no. Okay, because we should be talking about how this fits into like Star Wars canon and mythology. They're not animals because they have animals.
Yeah, they definitely have.
They have like every animal. It's actually on Endor.
It's actually really great, really topical right now. Zootopia, really popular movie, doing really well. I like that Sindel calls them furries in this movie. I took a screen cap. She calls them furries, and it's really great. I love it.
Yeah.
It did really bother me that they talk about like bears and there's a ferret.
Yeah. Okay, I made a list. There's
like horses.
There are horses.
They have like all these. They have all these earthen animals.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, they have horses, goats, llamas. There's a rabbit at one point, a ferret, and an owl. And at one point, right about where we're at, she actually says, like, no, that's a horse. Like, she knows what it is.
That's not a Star Cruiser. That's a horse.
And then behind them are, like, bell peppers and, like, miscellaneous vegetables in a bowl. So, yeah.
And also,
their prop budget must have been like abysmally small.
Yeah, I don't know where this fits into like Star Wars mythology.
we also have Mace calls them mop faces and walking hairbrushes.
I like mop faces.
So we know that in the Star Wars universe they have mops and hairbrushes. So
is that like a racial slur for Ewoks?
I guess it definitely makes me a little uncomfortable saying it.
I gotta say, yeah, I feel a little uncomfortable with saying like you mop face.
So this movie was made for TV.
Yeah, it was made for ABC.
Okay, that's wild.
Yeah, it was back when the movie of the week was still like a really big deal on network television. So this movie actually had really high ratings. It was the second highest rated thing on ABC for that whole year.
Oh my goodness.
And it was, by the way, nominated for 2 Emmys.
What?
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
It was nominated for Visual Effects Emmy and for Outstanding Children's Program.
Visual effects.
To be,
I mean, those were some high quality strings that those sliders.
Dude, those are the best. To be fair, though, Gorak is still decent.
Yeah, to be fair, that wolf thing looks really good.
It's a fun Harryhausen creature.
Yeah, it looks
I was
ridiculously good for this movie.
I was thinking during that scene that it's basically the same. I mean, the way that it was animated, quote unquote, like with all the stop motion, it's basically the same as the Rancor.
Yeah.
So I didn't have like so much.
It looked a little better than the Rancor though, which is weird to say. It actually looked like out of place, weirdly good for this movie, like better than a lot of effects.
Yeah, I mean, I think our linear account of this movie is going all over the place.
Well, there's not. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't miss anything. We missed some, like you said earlier, some
Yeah, they find the starship, they find Sindel. Mace comes in waving his gun like a crazy maniac.
Yeah.
And like shooting.
Yeah.
And then they disarm him.
Yeah, somehow.
And then he's like, oh, okay, we're friends. And they go back to they go back
like in
village.
binding. They're like in bondage. And then
that's true. No, Mace does.
Well, he does.
They're both tied up, and then
no, she's
Sindel
not.
when she gets sick.
No, Sindel just walks in. Sindel walks in just like willy-nilly with them and says hi to Wicket.
Yeah.
They meet and like hold hands. Like she's not tied up.
Yeah.
They don't care. Question: does this movie take place before or after the Battle of Endor and Jedi?
After.
Yeah, see, that's
why.
That's one I think that's never like. Yeah, they never touch on that like in any way.
I would say after, because when Wicket meets Leia in Jedi, he's like, what the fuck is that?
This is true.
And in this, I mean, they're defensive, but they're not like, I've never seen anything like this before, let's make it our god.
Yeah. Well, but also they don't know how guns work, and you would think they would know how the guns work.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. It is confusing because then, like, the thing that confused me the most is they only have, like, they don't live in the village. They don't live in the Ewok village.
Yeah.
No, they live
only
in
like
Marin.
Crazy Shaman Man does.
They live in like
they live. They live in a cabin on a lake with horses and chickens.
Yeah, it's more like the village in that other Warwick Davis movie,
Willow.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, yeah, it's strange. And then they just when they have to see the shaman guy, they just reuse a shot from Jedi to like exterior
the matte painting shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a real bad matte painting in this movie.
Sindel gets sick, and they like rub bell pepper on her lips, and she gets better, and then they sleep, as they do often in this film.
They rub bell pepper.
It looks
on
like a
her
little
lips?
slice of bell pepper.
It's a leaf that's supposed to have medicine inside of it, and they dip the presumed liquid into her mouth.
It's aloe vera. It's
I
aloe
think
vera.
they say it's a special fluid.
Yeah. What like bit rate, like quality did you watch this movie in? Like 180p or like higher?
1080.
I think it was
1080p, bro.
I don't think this movie exists in 1080p.
All the fucking.
It was a DVD rip, so 480.
This movie got released on DVD.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it's a double feature.
There's a petition going around to get it released on Blu-ray.
Oh man, okay, Kickstart.
Sign it. Give it to me.
Like a horrible waste.
Started by the actor who plays Mace.
Well, okay.
So she gets sick, and then they have to go save her, or they give her the medicine, and then they leave.
Yeah, well, she gets worse. She gets better, and then worse. And then they go, oh, we don't have any more medicine. So then they have to go get more medicine.
Right.
So they leave to find some leaves. And then the space slug from Empire Strikes Back attacks Mace from a tree hole.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's creepy. It's sufficiently creepy.
His arm is not injured at all.
He's
after
fine.
Having this shit.
It is, though. Yeah, he gets, later on, it shows it's all mangled.
Well, that's a strong word.
Then he's fine.
Yeah, later.
Mangled is a strong word. I would say it's slightly just ruffled up.
Yeah. It looks weird.
Yeah. So Sindel gets better when they get back, and this is where Wicket and her become friends. They're hanging out and talking, and this is where the Ewoks really start speaking English. And she's teaching him about Star Cruisers and how they crash. Which me and my sister growing up, I mean, we watched this movie so much, and we thought that was so funny. I don't know why, but just Star Cruiser crash.
Yeah,
I used to say that all the time. When I was little.
I mean, he uses it like a one-liner at the end too, pretty much. It's a good use for a joke. His spoilers when they kill the Gorax, he's Gorax crash pretty much. He's he crashed, and it's awesome, and everybody claps, and everybody has a good time in the movie theater that they weren't in,
and then freeze frame and credits.
Yeah, freeze frame and credits.
Apparently, this was released in theaters in Europe.
What?
Which I can only imagine how disappointed that theater audience must have been. Oh, there's a new Star Wars movie.
I bet they weren't disappointed, though.
Oh, my God.
Maybe not. I don't know. People seem to like this movie.
Yeah, you yourself said you loved it as a kid.
I loved it. I don't know why.
Because we were dumb kids. That's the only explanation I have. I actually thought that this scene was the only one of any kind of substance in the whole movie.
No.
It's actually showing some kind of interaction and some sort of development of the characters.
No. You just wait until Brian gets to when they leave.
Oh,
Can we just go there, Brian?
Yeah, okay. So
because you get the whole crux of the movie in Mace's monologue.
They sleep again. There's another sleeping scene, and then Mace wakes up, and even after all this, Mace is just I don't trust these walking hairbrushes. Get up. We're going to take my blaster and we're going to go find mom and dad. So they sneak out, and then Sindel goes, oh, I'm tired. Let's build a fire.
So they sleep again.
And so they're getting ready to sleep again. And as they're building the fire with a little Star Trek phaser, Mace has a monologue about how he wishes he would have been a better kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets really real really quick.
Yeah.
And he might as well just look at the camera.
Yeah.
Well, he says it. Because he's I wish I would be the best kid there ever was. If only I'd listened to mom and dad, then they wouldn't have left.
Do something about your fucking anger issues.
Yeah, maybe not, don't try to, assault every creature you come in contact with.
He flip-flops quite frequently in this movie. But yeah.
Also, I don't know if he should be using the people who didn't even look in the fucking Starfighter for their children or Star Cruiser as
well,
yeah, that's a good point.
We don't know that. Maybe the kids left and then came back because they knew where to get there. Let's not not lambast these space parents just
well,
yet.
they imply that she was hiding there the whole time.
Maybe they were going there, and then the giant came.
Yeah, maybe.
Perhaps.
Anyway, this scene's great because he basically, he's like, just do what your parents say, kids, and then they won't get trapped, captured by a giant, and you won't be on your own.
It is true, though.
That feels like a George Lucas input to me too, where George Lucas is like, well, in fairy tales, in Germany, they're a cautionary tale, and we have to have a theme. Which it's good.
It's a fucking maniac.
It's good to have a theme, but it's just very out of place in a movie that's just nonsense.
Yeah, so much nonsense.
So they wake up that night. Oh, by the way, that whole thing is shot day for night, so it's obviously shot during the day with like heavy cast shadows from the trees. But this is where they hear the boar wolf, is what that thing is called, a boar wolf.
Okay.
Approaching.
Like
so they take off running, and then there's actually a pretty convincing shot of the boar wolf chasing them and Mace like shooting his laser back at it. And then they hide in like a tree, and the wolf tries to get in.
And then they go to sleep again.
At which point my son screams in agony.
It is pretty scary.
Felt very bad.
Kind of reminds me
it's
of...
really scary.
I told him too. I was like, just one more... It's okay. Just one more scary scene. If it's too much, I'll turn it off. And it just happened to be that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a bad father.
It's okay. In
making my kid watch the
in 25 years, he's going to have a podcast of his own where he talks about his terrifying memories of Caravan of Courage.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, at least we're imprinting properly.
Properly. Definitely properly.
So they wake up in the morning and they hear the Ewoks fighting the boar wolf. And at first you think, are they going to do this whole thing off camera?
Yeah.
And then it actually cuts to some pretty cool Harryhausen stop motion battle. And there's even, for like a brief shot, there's like a stop motion Ewok.
Yeah, when he jumps on top of him?
Yeah, when he jumps on top of him, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, which is the first... It's cool because all the things they do in this movie, they did in Return of the Jedi already. So the Ewoks only have about 3 combat tactics, and this is the first of the 3, is using a rope to swing on top of your enemy.
Yep.
It works.
And then going inside of him, and then burrowing inside of him.
Oh, it's continuity. And then Wicket shoots a poison dart out of like a flute into the beast.
Out of a dart gun, perhaps?
I prefer a flute.
I prefer a flute as well. It's an Andorian flute.
And at least I looked it up, and at least on Wikipedia, it says that this subdues the beast.
Yeah,
so
by killing
I don't
him,
think
he's
dead.
subdued by killing.
Yeah, by death. Yes.
I prefer to think that
all
he's
in
still
favor
alive.
of that thing being fucking dead.
Aye.
Nay.
Yeah, he's dead, dude.
He's absolutely
dead, Jim. And this is kind of a crazy thing. So the boar wolf, they find like the boar wolf has like a satchel, like a messenger bag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It has the life monitor to the like Fitbit thing that that the parents are wearing. It has Jermit's life monitor in it, which is like, okay, so I guess the boar wolf is like either friends with the Gorax or like the Gorax's pet.
That's what they kind of imply later.
They imply that right now by the Gorax having it, or by the bear wolf.
No, I mean through like actual quote unquote dialogue.
Maybe. I think there might be a narration after that goes. I don't know, something about that. I think you're right.
It still doesn't really check out.
Yeah, but then they have to get the Fellowship together to go.
This is
no kidding. There's a lot of stuff from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, this is Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
But with Ewoks, which sounds awesome, but it's not. Yeah, so Deej, the oldest Ewok, says, well, we got to go see Logray, the village shaman, which is confusing to me because I always thought Chief Chirpa was the shaman and Logray was that like blonde Ewok.
No, but I guess Chirpa was just the chief.
But wasn't Logray? I could have sworn that Logray looked different in Return of the Jedi. Maybe I'm wrong, but. So, yeah, this is where Logray uses his, what'd you call it? His dreidel, his like crystal dreidel.
Yeah, yeah, space dreidel.
Space dreidel, yeah. And this gives him like a vision of the parents in a cage and the Gorax keeping them captive, which is weird because the Gorax. What does the Gorax want to do with them? Eat them?
It's probably just save them.
I have no idea. Like he chases them down and then just puts them in a cage.
You know, PD's right. He's probably called the starship to come pick them up, and he's just putting them in the cage so they don't run off.
Maybe, yeah. It's really funny because he's eating like when we meet the Gorax, Mr. Gorax, he's eating like a very big bone. Like, so clearly he has much bigger game to hunt. Like,
it seems like
also there's nothing on the bone.
Well,
yeah, he's licking
just like
it
a
clean.
bone.
maybe he's really hungry. Yeah.
It seems weird that he would keep them for because I mean, how many nighttime scenes are there in this movie? It's like a week from when he captures them to when they rescue him.
Yeah.
So he's just like saving these two things that are, relatively speaking, a pretty small meal, considering that he probably eats like boar wolves most of the time.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe he wants them to like put on a show. I don't know.
It's very awkward.
It's a very large and gross go-go cage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He wants them to develop like a Cirque du Soleil routine in that cage.
Yeah, maybe. Right?
It's possible. It's definitely possible. I wouldn't put it past him.
I mean, when you're so close to the primeval forest, you need to find things to occupy your time.
Yeah, I think what I find so weird about this movie is right from the beginning, keyword enchanted. This is like they set up. This is like magic in this movie. Like, it's like the weird fairy things, and like it's all like it's like more fantastical than regular Star Wars, and it's like it doesn't fit in any way.
Like the pond mimic.
Yeah. The
so does
pond,
this raise This raises the question: is this magic that they're doing the Force? Like, do Ewoks have are they like Force sensitive beings that have like super crazy Force powers?
Yeah, because the one dude has like a super OP staff that's just like game breaking. Like it can possess animals and it can disintegrate rock. Like and
Princess, what's her name? Is that what they call her?
Yeah, we'll get to her.
It's the female wizard.
Yeah,
who has a staff just
what
like
the fuck
Gandalf's.
Do they need?
Like it's
what do they need any of the rest of them for?
Yeah.
Well, because Brawny, dude. Brawny's got to be Brawny.
Chuck Rock. I prefer to call him Chuck Rock.
Chuck Rock. More like
Chuck Rock.
Like Chuck Axe, though.
Yeah, Chuck Axe. So basically, they get the fellowship, and then you get more. My favorite was Mace. More of his like flip flopping, because one second he's like super excited, and then he gets a rock and he's all upset.
Yeah, and he throws the rock away.
I have a list here of everything that the Fellowship gathers together, and Deej is given the white wings of hope. Weechi is given the red wings of courage. Wicket is given the magic stick.
No. The magic walking stick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but later they call it the magic stick, and it makes me think of that 50 Cent song.
It's a magic walking stick.
I got the magic stick. I know if I hit once, I can hit twice.
Yes, but stop though. How about
get off of my lawn?
Whittle is given the blue wings of strength. Sindel is given the candle of pure light, and Mace is given a rock.
Well, because there's two other way cooler things like left to distribute.
Yeah,
and that's why he's so mad, because he wants one of those. But
the other two things are a crystal and an ivory tooth that they have to bring along and find two more like worthy warriors to join their team. Which I don't know. I hate this. Okay, well, this is basically like a fetch quest, right?
I mean,
it's like it's something that I hate in video games, and then every now and then it creeps up in a movie when they really need to pad out a movie. Like, I love the movie Coraline, but it's basically like the middle of that movie is like a fetch quest. Like, you must find the 3 magic
quest.
rocks.
It's not. It's more of like it's assembling the team.
They already have it.
Of like a heist movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you got to get your crew.
It's like Destiny though. They knew they were going to run into them. Someone knew they were going to run.
I guess. Yeah, because the tooth like fits in his necklace,
Yeah.
but then they have to.
Yeah, so like Logray is just holding these things hostage, or is like bargaining chips for when he needs favors from somebody.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, the
I
second person though is the fairy, right? Like they don't meet another.
No.
What?
Yeah, no. There's just 2 people. The first person they meet
Bronny.
is Chuck Rock.
So they go to meet Bronny, the axe-wielding
Yeah.
giant Ewok, who they refer to as a woodsman, which really just disoriented me because what are the rest of the Ewoks then?
Well, they show him chopping down
a
trees,
huge
so
fucking
that
tree.
checks out.
He's doing
As
fine.
somebody, by the way, as somebody who is a trained sawyer, and I have cut down a redwood tree before. There's no fucking way you could cut down a redwood tree with like a rock attached to a stick.
It's
Like,
magic.
That would
If
take
you're Bronny, you can.
20 years.
Yeah.
He also
Have you met an Ewok,
Yeah.
Brian?
I didn't think so.
Yes.
Do not. Well, that's convincing.
He also, what's great is he gives 0 to negative shits that he almost kills the entire crew by
Yeah.
dropping a tree on them.
Yeah, seriously.
Like he almost hits them and they're like, "Hey, dude, what's up? What the heck?" And he's like, "Huh," and he starts to walk away.
Yeah. And then they're like, they ask him to be in their little troop, their little band of misfits. And at first he's like, nah, fuck you. I've got trees to chop down. And then Mace steps in and is like, nah, this guy's not worthy. We're not taking this guy with us because Mace is like bipolar or something.
Oh, very.
And then-
yeah.
Mace takes an axe and throws it into a tree and is like, I'm awesome. We're not taking this guy with us.
Yeah.
And then Chuck Rock doesn't like, he takes his axe and throws it. And you think like it's going to be like, Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Where his axe is going to like split the other axe in half. But it doesn't. It just he just does the same thing.
Yeah.
He just throws an axe into a tree. And Mace is like, holy shit.
He hits the handle.
No, it hits the handle. Yeah.
No,
it's
it
just
doesn't.
next to it.
No, it's just next
Yes,
to
It's
it.
just next to it.
No.
You guys are
No.
making that up.
No, you are making
No,
that
no.
up.
No, absolutely
I
not.
literally just
No,
watched it.
consult
Okay,
the tape.
Dude, Mace fucking he hits like a
Pause.
weird like leaf on the tree. Like he hits something. And then
Uh-huh.
fucking Big Mo he like throws the axe and all it does is land right next to it. And
No.
he's
Yeah,
like,
it's just next
He
to it.
hits the handle.
No, it's in the handle.
No, it's
The
not.
handle.
Oh my god, I'm gonna pull up the fucking video right
We're gonna
now.
stop. We need to
Do it.
stop.
Do it right now.
oh my goodness.
You know what? I'm watching it again, and now I think I'm siding with. I think it is in the handle.
Yeah, it
But it
definitely
really
is. But it
okay.
doesn't look like it.
They should have chosen any other angle
Yeah.
because it's you're right. It's 3 brown things in a brown background, and you really can't tell.
Or just
And I
had
watched
any
it,
kind of.
and I thought it was just next to it, and I'm like,
Me
why is
too.
he impressed by that?
Yeah, I was saying.
They could have shown any other kind of response in the thing that he fucking
Yeah,
hit
exactly.
with it.
Like it should have broke or something. Like in Robin Hood. Just like in
It's
Robin
so
Hood.
it's so static.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then immediately Mace is like, "Okay, all right,
Yeah.
yeah. I've
we can
turned a
bring
new
this
leaf.
guy along."
Yeah, and all calmly is like, "We need you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh God, Mace.
Please help us find our parents."
I'm so glad that we're 3/4 of the way through this movie already.
Yeah, we need to. Let's.
So then
speed this
they
along.
move on to the second part of their fetch quest, where they find
Not a fetch quest.
Kank.
Say that again?
We were watching and we thought that her name was Hank.
Taint.
I thought it was
Oh.
Hank.
yeah, Hank, but her name is Kank.
Kank.
Kank the priestess.
I'll be honest, I didn't rightly care about any of the names in this fucking
Yeah,
movie.
Well, you
didn't
should
even
have.
know.
Well,
because they're
yeah,
awesome.
you should have. In my notes, I wrote Hank and Bronny. were the two Ewoks.
Yeah, so they give...
There's bitch kid, stupid girl, fucking priestess, Logray. I guess I care about Logray.
So they give Kank the crystal totem, and Kank is like, I'm not going to join you unless you pass this test, which is very weird to me. But she hands Mace the crystal, and it turns into a lizard. And Mace is like, fuck this, I'm leaving. And Sindel picks up the lizard, and the lizard turns into a mouse, and Kank's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
What a like...
You passed
this thing turned into a fucking lizard. Fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, he just gets frustrated, as he does about everything. And then, Sindel literally just picks it back up. Do we know how old Mace is supposed to be?
I'm going to say
no.
11.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Because the stunt double is certainly like my age.
Did that scene offend you, Aaron, as a lizard enthusiast?
Yes. Absolutely.
All right. I don't know how to go.
Lizards are people too, okay? Not just mice.
That's true. They continue in their quest, and they reach a lake where Mace, I guess, I don't know if there's like a siren song thing going on, but Mace is like super just attracted to this little pond.
He's probably just attracted to himself.
He's just sitting there and he wants to poke it. Because fucking that's normal.
It's all shimmery, so he pokes it, and this is the part that scared me when I was a kid, was Mace... Like, he pokes it and he gets transported into the lake, and he can't get out from underneath it. Like, it's like glass on the top. And while they're trying to get him out, he can, like, just hold his breath forever.
Straight out of Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Yeah, so they try a bunch of stuff to get him out, and nothing works. And then they take Wicket's magic stick and stick that in the water, and that seems to be the thing that they can grab onto, and he transports out of the magic evil pond. Why is the pond
I'm looking
evil?
Forward to using, because it's a mimic.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I wrote.
I'm very much looking forward to using that trap in my game.
But is it a force pond?
I don't know. I wrote in my notes that like the movie starts as California and it's so clearly Australia after, because like everything is giant, oversized, and kills you. Like the lake kills you. There's giant spiders that can kill you. There's giant rats that can kill you. There's like furry things in a tree that can kill you. Like everything can kill you.
Yeah, and they're leaving.
Take that, Australia.
So once they leave the lake, this is where we get to my favorite shot in the film, which I've made a GIF of. I'll post it again when this episode comes out. But
yeah,
Wicket is like playing on a branch, and he scares the horse that Sindel is on. Well, she's in like a little house that's on the horse.
A weird fucking
really weird. It's like a palanquin
thing that they built.
Yeah.
And then you have like Super Chuck Rock, the cowboy. He runs and jumps onto another horse and goes to chase down the horse that's out of control. And then there's a shot of what is obviously a full-size stuntman in an Ewok costume riding a horse.
Yeah, it's incredible.
This scene serves next to no purpose. I was so upset after watching it.
Well,
like I get that they're trying to show that fucking Chuck Rock or whatever the hell his name is, like is showing some sort of fealty to the rest of the party, but fucking they could have. Oh, it was so unnecessary.
Well, originally,
especially after having watched so many scenes that that they didn't need in the movie up to this point already.
Well, this was pitched...
It made me very angry.
This was pitched and developed as like an hour-long TV special. And the condition of doing the movie was that ABC wanted to do it as their like Saturday night movie, so it had to hit a certain minute mark. So it had to be 2 hours on television, which was at the time like an hour and 26 minutes or something like that.
It is so long.
And so that's why they had to a script and an outline that was shorter, and they just like padded it out with nonsense.
Yeah, it's them farting around for a really long time.
Yeah, so then they camp again. They're, in bed again. And this is where they get visited by the Wisties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Space fairies. So they get all these like crazy fairies descend upon their camp, and it's like a crazy Ewok acid trip. And then Sindel this part's very confusing, but at least this is what it says on Wikipedia. Sindel sets her candle on the ground, and the Wisties gather around it. They all fly down into the flame of the candle, which transforms into Queen Izrina.
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
Well, okay. It does, I guess, because there also I wrote down like later on, Mace totally knows her name.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, Izrina, like helped us.
Yeah.
Thanks." Like,
Yeah, but
what?
the candle's still there, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that she was just like left behind or whatever.
He even
She wanted to
says,
be left behind.
He even says, like, "Oh, this one was left behind."
Yeah.
But she's the queen.
So, fuck whoever wrote this goddamn Wikipedia article. Because they're worse than us.
Don't besmirch the people, the wonderful people who write Wikipedia articles, because without them, this podcast doesn't exist.
No,
true.
without them, we would be talking about other things.
Important things.
Not fucking lamproids and Davin Felth.
So, once again, the group continues their quest and camps again. Sindel complains about being hungry, and they pull out some food and try to feed
some fucking elven bread.
They try to feed the elven bread to Queen Izrina, and then she just like does a crazy dance for like 10 fucking minutes, and they're just so
Another
delighted.
Unnecessary scene.
Yeah, so delighted. Like, we just had a scene of a bunch of wispies dancing, and this is like one wispy dancing, and this is where we find out that she eats giggles.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Or she must.
Obviously.
Well, yeah, obviously she does.
So they reach the Forbidden Fortress of the Gorax. Fucking finally.
After crossing the desert.
After crossing the desert and the, like, acid pools, right? Is what I think the narrator, like, Burl Ives just chimes in and goes, they go through the field of acid pools. And I'm like, why? That's more interesting than the fairies.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I kept forgetting that there was like a narrator. Like, it's oddly spaced, so he only comes in like 3 or 4 times, and he talks like at one point. I think during the scene with the shaman, like Mace asks a question and like the narrator answers, which is awesome.
It's very narration heavy at the beginning, and then it's just really sparse the rest of the time.
Yeah, that was another thing where I guess originally there was no narrator, and then the first 20 minutes of the movie was just like grunting. Gunda, you know? And so they hired Burl Ives to come in and try to make sense of it.
I can't imagine having to watch this without a narrator.
Oh, well, if you want something that's just like that, watch the Star Wars Holiday Special, where the opening is just Wookiees growling for 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like when I was watching it, I was like, oh yeah, they probably didn't intend for there to be a narrator.
So they get to the entrance of the Gorax lair, and they're like, I don't know how to get into this place. It's just a huge cliff. And this is where they go, hey, Mace, break out that magic rock that they gave you. And he's like, oh, but I threw the rock away. Yep. And then Wicket goes, I picked up your rock. And then Mace goes, I don't want this stupid fucking rock.
Yep. It's so great. He's so like sad that he lost it, and then he like, oh, guess what? No, you didn't lose it, and he's pissed immediately again.
So impetuous.
And then
so
delighted when he shakes the rock and realizes that there's something inside.
Because he didn't notice it previously.
So he throws the rock on the ground, and inside the rock, there's another rock.
Put this one in the shape of an arrow.
You could say
It's
that.
a little oversimplifying, but...
It's an arrowhead, but it's basically a rock inside of a rock.
Yeah. I know, he's like, what is this?
Yeah.
But then
It's
it
a
turns
magic.
out the arrowhead is
enchanted.
alive, and it like wiggles underneath a boulder.
That's the conclusion you came to, was that it was alive.
Well, yeah, but it finds. I guess it finds. I don't know. I don't understand.
It literally like finds the weak point in the rocks, because it doesn't help them really get in.
No, not at all.
It just is like, oh, here, look at this is a rock that maybe you could blow up with your little bit of blaster
Yeah.
that you have left.
Yeah. So he
Which is
busts
what he
out
does.
his blaster and uses it on a rock in a way that no other blaster works in Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe we don't know that. Maybe if you just hold down the trigger.
Hold down X.
That's
It's
true.
more like a Star Trek phaser.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it blows up the rock and they get in. Hooray.
Yeah.
That rock just straight explodes somehow. It's wild.
Well, it's great because he also, Mace is like, I just give me a little bit left. Like, I hope you just have a little bit of energy left. And it like explodes that rock.
Yeah.
Well, he says that like 10 times in the movie. Like, I don't have any energy left in this blaster, but he keeps fucking using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what purpose that's supposed to serve.
I mean, I would think that it's supposed to be like, oh, well, he has this blaster, but he can't just solve all his problems with the blaster. You know, they're trying to like depower him, so it's a little more exciting. But then whenever he needs it, he just uses it. So it
like adds a little bit of tension at the end of the movie, but at that point you already know that they're going to win.
Yeah, well, I mean, you would assume so. What kind of monster would just like kill the family in a kids movie?
We'll find out later.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to do the second one because that one is
I'm very excited.
Amazing.
Very, very excited.
I don't know if I've seen Battle for Endor, so
it's awesome.
Yeah.
like this one I have memories of, but we'll see
The
if
sequel is
there are memories of the other one.
worth the price of admission.
All I gotta do is turn the disc over.
Lucky you. By the way,
Yeah.
you should just sell that because this DVD sells for like $100 on Amazon because it's out of print.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
The one that I have, the double feature?
It was only released once on DVD and that was it.
They made it for like a month.
Basically.
Oh,
It's super rare now.
Hell yeah.
So they go inside and Deej insists that the youngest members, Wicket, Whittle, and Sindel stay by the entrance while they go and find the Gorax. Or Gorax? Gorak?
Gorak.
Gorax.
Mm-hmm. Gorax.
Like Borak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like Borat. Just like Borat.
Like, yeah.
My brain.
Thank you for no one for doing a Borat impression. I appreciate it.
I don't know why I think that's funny.
We're going against the grain here, guys.
Oh boy. Okay, so they go in and they
Pull together, Brian.
okay. They eventually encounter a giant spider web.
Yep.
And to which, of course, Mace says, "Come on, guys, we'll go across this spider web. It's just like climbing a ladder sideways."
Yeah, he does. That's
Which
my
is
favorite line.
it doesn't make any sense because the defining characteristic of climbing a ladder is going up and down.
Yeah.
There is no just like climbing a ladder sideways.
Only sideways.
It's fine.
And also, do Ewoks have ladders? And do they speak English?
Yeah, it gets to the
They
point
do
in this
have
movie where the
ladders.
Ewoks do just straight up understand what they're saying. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
At the beginning,
one
Mace
for
is
one.
just like yelling and screaming, like,
yeah.
food, eat,
Yeah.
food, eat. And then by the end, he's like talking about economics and like complex political situations. And they're like, yes,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So they're climbing the sideways ladder web, and this is where they get attacked by like the crappiest looking paper mache spiders.
Oh, they look.
So
cool.
I was gonna say some fucking second graders paper mache project.
Yeah, that they're like dangling on a string.
It's clear their budget went into Gorak and the ROUS in the beginning because they had none left for that spider.
Yeah. The spider was like one of the things that they couldn't repurpose something from Star Wars, and they actually had to make like brand new.
Yeah.
The thing looks fucking terrible.
Yeah.
There's no moving parts on it.
Yeah. Well, the legs kind of like they move, but they move just like
they
in
move
one direction,
incidentally
like...
because of fucking gravity, not because they made them move. Like,
I mean, the mouth
like
moves kind of like.
Yeah, it has like a gooey mouth that has like it's like wiggling around.
Anyway,
well, then you get the OP staff comes out.
I mean, well, first you get one
D12
regular spider.
plus 20. It's a
your
plus
fucking
20
wand
staff.
of fireballs.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
One they kill with like a knife,
Yeah, it's like
and then
tiny.
the second one comes that's bigger.
Yeah, like so 2 Halloween dangly.
No. The first.
That's I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
No.
They hypnotize. No, they hypnotize one, and then Wicket and the other one have like a stare down.
No.
For like 30 seconds.
There's a tiny one that comes out first, and
There's a
kill
tiny
it
one
immediately.
first,
and then the big one comes and it falls, but then it comes back later, like after they possess it, because it comes.
Right. Well, him and Wicket like stare at each other forever.
Yeah.
And then it like terrifyingly like attacks Wicket, jumps on top of
That's
it.
afterwards. That's after it comes back.
It's got this like stare down thing going on, and it's like trying to juke him out.
Yeah.
Fucking,
It's like when you meet someone in a
It's so
hallway and like you go
ridiculous.
left and they go left, and then you go right and then they go
Yeah.
right, and then
like they're fucking playing pickup back in basketball.
and then Wicket just stabs the shit out of it and kills it.
He stabs it a lot.
So terrible.
Yeah, so they get across the spider webs, and then Chuck Rock uses his axe to like cut all the spider webs, which seems like let's make it impossible to get back, like the only way that we know how to get in. But
Absolutely.
whatever. I mean, I guess they need to, because if the spider web was there, then there'd be nothing for the Gorax to fall into.
Yeah.
Also having no concept of how spiders move or climb or anything, because it doesn't need a fucking web.
Yeah.
Well, and then they meet the Gorak, right?
Yeah, they go up these like giant stairs to Gorat's kitchen.
Shut up.
I hope that's in the new Star Wars land. That's where you go eat.
Gorat's
kitchen.
They're repurposing fucking Pizza
Gorat.
Planet.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
God, I would pay all the money to eat there.
speaking of my wife jokes, like I was wondering, like how does do you think there are other Goraxes? Like, how does that creature exist? Like, he had to have been born from another one. Is he a mutant?
Immaculate conception by
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he
was
crash
bringing balance
landed
to the
on
Gorak
Endor
force.
previously
Maybe.
in an even bigger starship.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's all cyclical. So like this happened already once, but with Gorak.
Yeah, I like how this movie doesn't
Whoa.
They're still stuck there forever.
Yeah, it doesn't resolve
Just
anything.
wait.
family.
Just
yeah.
wait for the sequel,
okay,
you
cool.
guys. Come on.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was a
seriously.
direct sequel.
Oh, it is direct. It is a
It
direct
picks
sequel.
up like literally like a minute after this one ends.
Excellent.
Well, we were gonna watch episode 7 tonight, but with it getting so late, maybe I should just watch Battle for
You should. You really should. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, so this is another one of my favorite parts because it's level 2 of the Ewok battle tactics, which is the art of distraction.
Oh yes, perfect.
Yeah, first it was swinging on a thing and then distracting a thing.
Yeah, the Gorax is like in another room when they first get there. And then they all have to like run and hide, but one of them doesn't hide quick enough under the rock, so he's like hiding behind Borat's
a giant axe. Yeah.
So the Gorax gets up to look at his next meal, which is like Jeremit and Katarine are just hanging in that like cage still from the ceiling.
Mhm.
And Gorat's just kind of looking at him. And then Weiche accidentally knocks over the axe, and that's what attracts the Gorax's attention.
Right, and he runs out of the room, and it like chases after him like Mousetrap.
Yeah, exactly. And
like
so
the movie Mousetrap.
they use Chuck Rock and Mace use the fallen over giant axe as like a seesaw to like catapult. They catapult Mace up to the cage so he can like undo the cage, and they throw a rope down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant Mouse Hunt, by the way. Sorry, Mouse Hunt fans.
Mouse Hunt heads. The Mouse Hunters.
The Mouse Hunters.
Sorry,
yes.
Mouse Hunters.
But yeah, my favorite part about that scene too is that like Mace goes up there and they see him and they're like, "Oh, thank God!" And then they do. I don't even know what their plan. Why another Ewok has to go up there?
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Because like Mace goes up there with the rope and they're like, "Oh, thank you," and then they lower the rope and then an Ewok climbs up.
Yeah,
the
Chuck
rope.
Rock climbs up and Mace goes, "This is my friend Chuck Rock."
And then like the dad's almost repulsed, like immediately by the Ewok.
Yeah.
He's like, "What's this thing?"
He's a glutton for adventure.
Yeah, we're like, dude, we're saving you. Like, relax. But yeah, and then they go up there, then they all go down. There was really no reason for Brawny to go up there.
Well, they have to establish that Chuck Rock and Mace are like best buds now.
Yeah.
Because he's going to die soon.
Yeah.
Because they touched axe.
They need to establish that they need to fucking fill up 2 hours of goddamn airtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
this is where the Gorax...
Shit
the
makes me so fucking angry.
it's Gorak.
It's Gorax.
No, it's Gorax.
I prefer Borat.
So.
So this is where Borat comes in, and he realizes what's going on. He's pissed, and they all start running out, except for Chuck Rock, who is like hacking at Gorat's feet.
Dude, yeah, he goes to town.
And in a rage, Gorat is just like hitting the walls, and rocks begin to like fall from the ceiling, and one of them falls on Chuck Rock.
No. Not just one of them.
A bunch
There's
of
like
them.
quite a
Yeah.
few who fall on him, man.
So many.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
He's very dead.
Gets it.
bludgeoned pretty hard.
Yeah.
He-
And I think
yeah.
this is
dead.
when this is when Mace like opens up his pocket, right, and is like, "Get him, fairy."
Yeah.
Izarina or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like Chuck Rock and Izarina. Oh no, that's at the same time. It's like Chuck Rock and Izarina distracting him, and that's when he starts hitting the walls, and that's Chuck Rock gets crushed to death.
Yep.
So before he dies, of course, Chuck Rock gives his axe to Mace in a touching
Yeah.
scene, and Mace cries and goes, "You can't go, you're my friend."
Yeah. It'll be okay.
Yeah, because someone has to die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we move into phase 3 of the Ewok battle plan.
Yeah, they chase him, and of course, what do?
They trip him.
Mm-hmm.
So he trips and he falls down the chasm.
No, well, he almost does.
Well, we think he does, and then it's like, surprise, suckers.
No, dude, you're missing the. So he falls and he's
you're
hanging
right.
on the edge.
Yeah.
And then the shaman gets her plus 10 wand and drops like the biggest pointiest
Yeah.
like stalactite like on his head.
Yeah. Yeah, she like somehow makes the stalactite fall from the ceiling.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It really, it's brutal.
He doesn't look nearly as
Old
phased by it as
Gorax,
he
who
should.
really hasn't done anything wrong.
What's that?
Like, he doesn't look nearly as phased by it as he should be. Like, he kind of minor.
Well, it
and
should have
confused.
impaled
Yeah, he should
him.
be dead by that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be awesome if it just straight up impaled him through like the top of his head, and you could see it like in his mouth or something. That would be cool.
Jesus.
Probably too violent for this Ewok movie.
Maybe a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
But yeah, then he falls.
Then he falls. Then they're climbing out, and he reappears and starts menacing like Sindel and Wicket and them. And
On the
of
other
course,
side of the chasm.
Yeah, on the other side. And this is where Mace uses Chuck Rock's axe and he throws it into Chuck Rock's back and it makes him fall again. Which is weird. I mean, the stalactite, that doesn't kill him, but this like tiny axe that's like the size of like me or you getting stung by a bee or something. Like, that's too much.
It was the final straw.
Well, they do make a point.
Chasm again.
They do make a point to
it's like
show
the perfect shot.
Yeah, they make a point to show that whatever he's holding on to breaks.
Yeah, that does break.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd probably fall off.
It was enough to.
I'd probably fall off a cliff if I was stung by a bee. I mean, like, realistically speaking, yeah.
In fairness, yeah. We just should be. We should all be. The moral of the story is be nicer to the Gorax.
Yeah.
Yeah. All he was doing was trying to hunt for his perhaps his meals.
Maybe for his wife.
Yeah.
And maybe he had him in a cage because he wanted to bring him back, but didn't have the time to, or perhaps it was too perilous for himself to bring them back, and then he just got fucking murdered.
Poor Borat.
Yeah.
So once they
it's a tragedy,
are
really.
safely on I think they use like a little like string of the spider web to swing back, and the family embraces and they're happy to be back together. And he goes, "Well, let's go home. Izrina will guide us. Will guide the way." And then they just celebrate as two families, and Burl Ives says they all lived happily ever after.
It really, that's the end.
And then we're done.
Finally.
I didn't think I'd be watching this movie
the whole
ever
time.
Again.
Huh?
Yeah.
Like, when you told me today that I needed to watch this movie, that's like I would never expect that I would ever be watching this movie. Like, if you told me in 2016 that I would be watching Caravan of Courage on a Apple laptop, like a Google Drive, like I don't know, that's wild. That's wild.
Welcome to 2016, man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's definitely not at the bottom of the list of possibilities that I would have been doing this.
I probably, now that I've seen it as an adult and have a firm understanding of what it is, I can't see myself watching it again. Like, I don't think there's going to be a time where I'm like, I got to watch Caravan of Courage.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting because I have really fond memories of Battle for Endor. Like, and I know I've seen that more recently and I still enjoyed watching it. Definitely in a it's so shitty it's fun way, but at least with like Battle for Endor, there's like constantly stuff going on. Whereas this is just like there's so much sleeping and nonsense.
When we move and I get all this everything set up, it's going to be hard for me to put this with the rest of my Star Wars stuff. I might have to hide it.
Yeah, and it sucks because this whole time I'm like, well, we got to start, like, this is Star Wars canon fodder, folks. Like, we're talking about the history of Star Wars and how it relates to everything, and like nothing even happens to relate to anything. And I always get upset. It sounds weird coming from me, like everything connects to everything, but like
within the movie, it certainly does. Stupid like life meter and shit.
Yeah, but like there's really like nothing happens in this movie.
Well, the implications of the Force you could go crazy with, because I really don't understand where this magic shit comes from. But
but what was magic? What was the
lake,
the fucking staff,
the fairy thing,
the fairies.
Oh yeah, the staff.
I mean,
the lake. Okay, that's true. It is very okay.
It's pretty magical.
Yeah.
But this was, I guess, during the Holocron days. This was designated as C canon.
What does that mean?
So it was it was in the same division of canon as like the expanded universe. So this counted as much as the Thrawn trilogy.
Huh.
Arguably more important.
Arguably more. Not arguably, factually more important.
I suppose that's going to wrap us up. You guys can check back with us every other Wednesday for brand new episodes. We would love to do the podcast more frequently, but it really depends on how well the show is received. If you enjoy the show, please help us out by writing a review on iTunes and telling your friends about the show. I've said it, many times, but we're brand new. There's no celebrities on this show, so we're really relying on anybody who listens to it to spread the word. If you like the show, tell your friends. That's how this show continues to live. We don't have any stupid advertisements for Squarespace, so let's keep the show growing and keep it ad-free. So yeah, tell your friends. You can email us if you feel like it. Tell us about your day, podcast@StarWarsFodder.com. You can follow us on all the social medias, Facebook.com/StarWarsFodder, @StarWarsFodder on Twitter, Star Wars Fodder on Instagram, and of course our website, StarWarsFodder.com, where you can see show notes, download the audio files directly, and comment on the episodes. I am your host, Brian West, @BrianWestArt on Twitter.
Miguel Silva, @PoodooMig on Twitter.
And I'm Aaron Sachs, @AMSaxMusic on the Twitters. Petey?
I am Slime Girls, @Slime Girls on Twitter. That's the best way to reach me. Get real bad jokes every single day, occasionally music. That's me.
All
Yeah,
right.
Brian, you said that we don't have any celebrities on, but we kind of do this week, don't we?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, man.
You did play a concert with Hannibal Buress.
Yeah, I certainly did. That was fun. That was ridiculous.
This is going to be a long, weird ending to this episode.
Yeah, very much so.
All right, bye.
Goodbye forever.
Goodbye.
Adios.